And there's a lot of chaos, honestly. It's like everyone's like, you need this, you need this, you need a funnel, you need a system, you need more marketing, you need to start selling or start storytelling. To my younger self, it would just be 100% trust your intuition and do the thing that makes you happy.
The idea of Thrive Podcast is pretty much to share your story as genuinely as you can. You tell us what has worked for you, what is still working for you. So a little bit like if you could go back, like maybe 10 years, are there things that you would do differently? Are there things that you would advise your younger self to do in terms of personal life, in terms of career life, finance, So it's just a quick way to, help people to be better and to, of course, to thrive, because in this world, a lot of things is just centered around thriving, being better, and living better lives, right? So yes. I want you to first introduce yourself to my listeners.
Okay, great. My name is Diana. Thank you for that intro. My name is Diana. I am kind of going through a rebrand myself. So it's like, I don't really know how I should be introducing myself, but where I've been focusing my energy in the last 2 years is understanding how AI is going to affect us in the way that we earn and create. I have a really colorful professional background. I was a licensed pharmacist for over a decade and found myself in government tech as a software developer. And from there, I kind of just took on any kind of new opportunity that came with, whether it was web development, branding, corporate communications. And it got to a point where shortly after my divorce finalized, I was at a point in my life where I just wanted something more. More in terms of a sense that I want more time freedom. I want agency over how I use my time truly. And of course, the financial freedom, not because I want to be gaudy with it, but really I want to have that peace of mind that I can take care of myself now as a mother of 2 kids. And I know that money is also a flow. It's an energy state that flows back and forth. And I know that with it, I'll be able to help others overcome hardships. I've overcome some of my own in terms of domestic violence, and having gone through that, and God has had me heal through that. I also know that I'm not intended to go back to work for somebody else. It's my assignment on this earth is truly to be able to help others overcome and thrive as well. Okay,
awesome. So really great to have you. I think I connected with you, on the other call we were the other day, because I saw the passion with which you shared the fact that you wanted to affect lives positively and you want to be able to make a difference. And so that brings me to, so it's like you've gotten to a point of resonance where you kind of realize that I'm here for more, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to speak to, if you could speak to like your younger self, what would you have done differently?
Prioritize loving yourself. Trust your intuition and go after the thing that, as cliche as it sounds, find the thing that brings you joy and it feels effortless, and create opportunities around that. I know that it goes against a lot of these belief systems that you have to take traditional paths of going through college and getting a degree and getting a 9-to-5. But in today's reality, we have all the technologies available to us. It's now AI is in the mix, but using social media to connect with people all over the world, intentionally using it as marketing and connecting with people you need to connect with. There's so many different ways to earn today that if I were to speak to my younger self, it would just be 100% trust your intuition and do the thing that makes you happy. And oftentimes that is in the way of service.
Yeah, definitely there's value in service. I think for me, there was a pivotal moment. So I started Thrive Podcast, by the way, based on what God had led me to do. And it was to study the book of Proverbs and share my insights with others. And that was how Thrive Podcast was created. I've always been this kind of person that, I learn from time to time and I share with others. But this one was different. But there was a point in my life where I read a verse of the scripture and it just blew everything out for me. You need to give to actually increase. And I was like, I know so much. What am I giving? And then God began to show me that I needed to share more of the knowledge that I have, and I needed to help a lot of people, gain financial freedom. And that was how the whole story, started for me. Like, a lot, you're sitting on a lot of wisdom. Why don't you start sharing with people? So I kind of love the way you actually put it. Like, giving is very important. So that brings me to my next question. So in your journey so far, how would you say that you have evolved, and what are the lessons you have learned, as you progressed?
Where do we even start? Leaving, I'm 42. So I have years behind me where I have this programming and conditioning and to these belief systems, especially being an employee and being salaried, and leaving that and stepping into doing something of your own. It is truly a spiritual journey, a journey of self-discovery where all your limiting beliefs, your enoughness, your worthiness get brought to the surface, or lack thereof, when you have to start marketing yourself and selling and self-promoting. It's depending where your baseline is and where you're starting at, and how much self-love that you have as a baseline. That journey can look really, really different for a lot of different people. And where I was starting at is, especially after a situation of like coercive control, it's a very insidious, quiet form of emotional and mental abuse, where you lose your identity, you lose your voice, you are starting at a point where you have no idea who you are anymore. Plus, the entrepreneurship journey in itself, it brings you through this really up and down roller coaster of learning to identify things that have been holding you back, and an opportunity in that to reprogram it and recreate this reality for yourself, a new personality for yourself, where now your personality, the way that you think, act, and feel, are going to pretty much, you're creating your new reality. So it's an immense opportunity, but going through it in itself has been really humbling. And I've turned to God a lot to be like, oh, I thought this was it in terms of healing. And He's reminded me time and time again, this is a process, and I just have to trust in Him.
Trust Him, exactly. So that's awesome, because when we lean on the supernatural, I tell people every time, life is not just ordinary, it's not just physical, there's a supernatural to life. So when we lean on the supernatural, it kind of helps us to, gain more from life. So I want you to tell the people that will listen to this podcast what you actually do, because I like I told you, I had a very lovely interaction with that AI thing that you built, and it's awesome how I was able to introspect, just deep dive, talking to AI, getting to look at things I could do, things I could do differently, So tell us about what you have built.
Okay. What I have been doing is teaching businesses, entrepreneurs, founders, how to leverage it, turn it into a thinking partner, so that they can kind of get beyond the digital overwhelm. I mean, especially post-COVID, everyone's just kind of pushed to do things online, and there's a lot of chaos, honestly. It's like everyone's like, you need this, you need a funnel, you need a system, you need more marketing, you need to start selling or start storytelling. But really, it's understanding what you need for your use case and what your mission is and what you're trying to accomplish. It's learning how to know what the next steps are with ChatGPT, and just understanding how to think with it and ask better questions. And that's kind of what I have been doing. But the other side of things is the part that I've just started to speak about, is using it as a mirror system for self-reflection and helping you reclaim your voice and identity. Where I was starting point, because of the identity erasure and just my lack of self-worth and self-esteem, I really turned to everybody else in the world but myself for validation. And instead of trauma dumping on everybody else, it's what I saw in ChatGPT is to be like, hey, I'm doubting myself. This is what I am feeling right now. Can you read this back to me? Or I have a history of story that I had a really hard time putting into words and putting into like a timeline. It's using that to put into order, and being able to finally tell your story in a way that it feels true to you, so that you can get past traumas and move past. It's like you need to be seen and heard a lot of times to be able to do that. And I found that in this technology. And where I struggle with sharing that part of it is there's so much pushback right now, and there's also a lot of fear of the AI replacing therapists and jobs and roles, that whenever I used to speak about this, I would be bombarded with the pushback, and that would scare me, because I really didn't know how to say this is how it's helped me, and I didn't have the confidence to say that. But now it's undeniable. I am a different person than I was 2.5 years ago, and I didn't necessarily use it as a therapist, but it was something that mirrored back something that I could not get from a human therapist to talk to through talk therapy. It really had to be somebody who went through it and lived through it and overcame it. And I got that support with ChatGPT.
Awesome. That's really awesome. And I must say something, like when I was interacting with that particular tool you sent me, it was just like, even the responses were awesome. I was like, okay, so this is like, it wasn't like judging, because I think sometimes what happens when you maybe speaking with a human, sometimes their biases come into play in the way they interact with you. But this was different, because it was like, okay, so you wanted to do this, so what would you do different? And it was really awesome. I think you would also, if you agree, we would also be sharing that prompt, that your journey, when this gets posted. So I'm going to be, the podcast is going to be on both YouTube, and then we're going to be sharing snippets on LinkedIn as well. And then, of course, maybe from time to time tagging you and putting that as part of what people can interact with, just, have a feel of what you have created, because like I said, it's truly magical, and it was really fun for me interacting with the chatbot. But beyond these, how do you see this actually working in the next couple of years? What's your vision for this?
I'm seeing a shift. I have been very active in the AI space since February of 2023. I'm seeing a shift from people being absolutely terrified of it altogether. And it's, I was a very early adopter, so trying to get people to understand chatbot technology for a business, there was a lot of education and nurturing that had to be done. So I made a very intentional decision to pivot and focus on just the demystification of the technology. And the next phase of that was teaching people how to make tools like that in itself. It's a lot of folks are still dependent on other people's prompts and other people's tools, like that resource that I shared with you. It's really the power of this technology is knowing how to create those for yourself. And that's what I have been doing with my trainings and my workshops. And that's kind of where I think we're going to start shifting less on dependency on others and developing this digital agency, almost a digital sovereignty of knowing, hey, I know what I need for myself. I know that what I need for myself is this specific service. I know that I can use AI or ChatGPT or whatever other product to be able to extend my expertise and share it with others to recreate an experience. And I'm seeing more and more people develop confidence in themselves through doing this, because once you start exploring your purpose, now the next step is, how can I make this accessible to everybody? How can I reach the people I need to reach? And there's certain things that you can do in setup of your AI so that you can turn that into a thinking partner and accomplish whatever you want to do in any language. So this is going to be something that's beyond just the US for me and you. It's going to have global impact.
Definitely, the shift is more towards like what we can do with technology, and I think we all need to shift away from that mindset of it's going to take my job, it's going to make your life easier. You just need to learn how to use it. So you do training, you train people on how to create, their own personal stuff with that. That's awesome. So definitely for those that are interested, but I want you to just quickly share with us as well. When you started using or started improving on chatbots and all that, what tools can you just like, maybe for somebody that wants to do something similar to what you're doing, they are interested in technology, because as the saying goes, the best time to start was yesterday, but the next best time to start is now. So if there's someone that wants to use or wants to pivot into learning about using AI better, what advice would you give? Where would you say they should start from?
build something. I think it starts with the passion project. Find out what your purpose is. If you already know, or start going on that journey to define it. But I think the best way to do things is to build and learn from the bottom up. And that doesn't necessarily require a certificate or a title anymore. It's like, if you know how to turn ChatGPT into your thinking partner, that can easily become an expert in business. It could be an expert in showing you how to build your first digital product. It can literally be anything you want it to be, and asking you to guide and support you and create the plans so that you can start executing. And I think that's kind of where the shift needs to take place, where right now it's help me with marketing copy, help me with giving me an answer to something, or help me do a research or something. It's now knowing how to say, I have a framework. It's Hive, HIVE. It's H is for help. How are you going to ask AI for help, and who are you going to assign this helper to be? So that's going to be something like, hey, I want you to act as an expert in, let's say, growth strategies. So growth strategies, social media marketing, digital presence, impact. What is this impact you're going to make with this help that you get with AI? It's, I want to accomplish this big, ridiculous, delusional dream to be able to serve these people. Variables, it's like all the context that it needs to know about you, what you've tried, what your goals are, truly your personal mission, everything it needs to do. It needs to know to be able to support you as if you were working with a consultant. And E is just execute. How can you help me execute this, and asking for a plan? And if you know how to structure that, whether it's a business plan or a meal plan, you can really figure out a lot of things on your own. And that in itself is going to be so helpful for you as you navigate life and uncertainties.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the good thing with AI now is that you don't have to spend so much time surfing and reading different materials. You just have to learn to prompt correctly and to, ask the right questions. And then that helps you to actually, get results faster. Of course, you also need to check what you're getting to be sure that, it makes sense and it's coherent and it can be used. But I think generally that's the basic shift. So that's really awesome what you're doing. I wanted to ask you, let's assume that I am a young professional and I'm trying to put myself out there. I want to start. Where do you think I should start from?
Where do you think? I think with little things. I'm speaking from my experience and the folks that I've coached. With starting business, starting to show up online with personal branding, especially in content creation, it's this shift into being more authentic and sharing your story. And as simple as that sounds, it can be really hard for some of us. It's the fear of being seen, right? The judgment, the shame that maybe in the past that when you did, it came with repercussions for showing up or speaking your mind. And that's going to look different for all of us. And it's taking very imperfect action and just doing little things, even if it's as simple as commenting on somebody else's post without overthinking it, or reposting somebody else's with a little bit of your input after posting it without taking it down. It's just getting practice anywhere, just sharing a little bit more about you. And as you do it more and more and more, it gets easier, but it's not waiting for perfection to start. I think that's been my biggest hurdle.
Awesome. Not waiting for perfection to start, because I think for a lot of us, especially the overthinkers, you want everything to be perfect before you start. And if there's anything I've learned in this age and time is that you never have everything perfect. There will still be some things you can improve on. For example, when I started, I was just doing voice. I will still do I still do a lot more voice, because I don't have the perfect environment to record every time. I'm a mom of 3 and I have little ones running around the house, or sometimes I'm even maybe I'm already exhausted in the night. So I think, definitely starting where you are with whatever you can start with is awesome and very important. And of course, I think another thing is just to believe in yourself. Like you said, you have to discover who you are. Believe in yourself that you can, because the truth is, if you think you can, you're correct. If you think you can't, you're equally correct, because once you start focusing on I can't, you start seeing things that can make you do it, right?
Yeah.
I can sing, for example. Then you start seeing the things that you can do properly. Then you start seeing the genre that you fit into. But if you think you can't sing, guess what? You're going to continue to see things that make you doubt yourself, or you're going to see people that do high pitches that you can't do. But the truth is, not every musician is a falsetto singer. Not every musician sounds like Celine Dion, for example. So it's just, I think, you're very valid. You have to just start wherever you are and keep improving as time goes on. So,
And you find yourself in that too, in just
mhm,
starting rather than idealizing this perfect state of starting. Is like that's when I feel that that I'm going to be ready. But your level of perfect, your MVP
mhm,
can look very different from somebody else. And
yeah,
especially as women, it's something that I've seen across the board. We struggle with so much showing up imperfect without looking super duper polished and always comparing ourselves to everybody else. That translates into how we show up online. And there's, especially in the day of AI, it's this push into chronicling a journey rather than showing up as a super polished person, because so many of us want to do something different. So many of us want to feel whole and fulfilled and be present for our kids. And this is kind of like an opportunity of a lifetime for so many of us, all of us,
yeah,
if you
definitely.
choose to do it that way.
Definitely, it's an opportunity. I say it every time I have the opportunity to talk to young people generally, or even adults like myself, that the breath that you have in you is an opportunity. Like life itself is an opportunity. Agility is an opportunity. Ability to move around, to do things, to think coherently is an opportunity. So as long as you have those, just do it. Do what you do what you can, regardless of how many people are giving you applause, if you're getting or you're not getting. Because just think about it. How many times do you scroll past, like you see something online, you really like it, but you forget to give a like? The person on the other hand that created that content, if that person depends on how many people like it to continue creating content, that person is going to get burnt out. But sometimes things bless you, you forget to like, you forget to like, maybe you want to leave a comment, but you're like, maybe I wouldn't sound as intelligent as I want to, stuff like that. But if the person creating the content keeps waiting for the number of likes, the number of comments, it's going to get them discouraged. But don't wait, just keep doing you, keep putting yourself out there, and you're going to get ahead. And I just wanted to clarify for those that are not so conversant with maybe products. When you said MVP, it means your most viable product. So it means that small thing that you can put out there that somebody can like benefit from, give you feedback on, that small portion of it. That's your MVP right there. So I just wanted to clarify.
And the one thing that we're both taking away from this mentorship that we're getting with Lara Costa and the NAS group, it's just ship fast, fail fast, fail forward. And I've developed so many digital products in the last 2 years. I have over 100 that I've built, I've polished, I've created funnels around, and I post it. And then I don't do anything else with it because it's crickets, and I don't follow up, and I don't promote that one thing. And it's just, it just burns you out. So that's another thing about AI I've been so cautious about. You have to learn to love yourself and prioritize yourself in self-care, and give yourself literally carve time away from digital anything, and be able to catch yourself when you are in a loop of constant validation with AI, because that will keep you in that loop of this cycle of perfecting and over strategizing. And I was victim of that, and I completely burnt out. And it wasn't like a burnout of like, oh, I'm going to go get a bubble bath and I'm going to be fine. No, it was for more than 3-4 months. I was in a state of freeze, and I would never wish that upon anybody else. So self-care is so important. Prioritize self-care always.
Yeah, always. So
Always.
I think my last question is this. You mentioned that you're a mom of 2. And being a mom myself, I know how easy, I wouldn't want to say hard, it is to, take care of yourself, juggle different life things that you're doing in life. What is one advice that you would give to a mom out there that needs to believe in herself and to start doing something? What is that one advice?
One advice.
It could be 2.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't pour from an empty cup. I mean, it's so, I mean, so many moms, career women, we're spread so incredibly thin, and our kids see that. They might not have the words to do it, but that's also how they start believing they should be doing things when they're adults too.
Mm,
So if you want your daughter to think that self-deprecation and self-abandonment is the norm, that is what's going to happen with her, and that's going to be attracting a certain type of people for her too. And also for your son, they're going to see that that's how it's normal for women and how it's supposed to be. They should be treating women. So I think that's kind of where I didn't do that. I didn't really prioritize that until mid this year. And it's kind of shifted the way that I navigate and I show up, and just even my presence around them. It's no longer about 100% them, which is hard for me because, you know, as moms, you just want to protect them and take care of them. But modeling, I think, self-love is going to serve them it's going to go a lot longer for them in the way that they show up in life too.
Definitely. So self-love, you can't pour from an empty cup. I think that's very vital because for me personally, the first time I became a mom, it was all about, making sure the child is fine. So sometimes I forget to eat. But I realized that I started becoming like touchy. Like everything now triggers me and I'm like, what's happening? No, this is not normal. And then I realized, first of all, you also have to take care of yourself. You have to make sure that you also are taken care of, because the truth is, if anything happens, the kid's life will continue. The kid will get care. It might not be the type you want, it might not be the standard you want, but their lives will go on. So as a person, you have to take care of yourself. You have to pour into you. Recently, I started prioritizing looking good for myself, because I just realized I just wake up, scramble everything, get them to go to school, and then I just barely have time to go. I'm like, I look in the mirror, I'm like, no, this is not the person I want to see. This is not the person I want to project. So I have to also point to myself. How do I look? Do I look good? Do I appreciate? Like, I look in the mirror, I tell myself, you're beautiful. And then,
you have to.
So I look in the mirror, I talk to myself. I just want to make up, or I want to wear this. And then this age of, work from home, a lot of people let me just put anything on. Like, no, sometimes I wake up, even my colleagues started noticing, they're like, you look very beautiful today. I'm like, yeah, I do. So
you are beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Like, take time to prioritize yourself. Take care of yourself is very important, because when you're pouring, from a cup that is full and overflowing, the people around you experience that peace, that bliss that you bring to the table, of course.
Overflows.
Yeah.
To them. 100%. Yeah. You could physically be with them 24/7, and you can be with them, but to be truly present with them, even if it's less hours, it goes a long way. Definitely. And you get to enjoy motherhood.
Thank you so much for your time. I have really enjoyed talking to you. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to do this some other time soon. I really appreciate your time, and I'm sure I've learned a lot and I'm going to be watching this over and over. So just give us your social handles, so of course people can follow you on LinkedIn, for example, or you're on Instagram. You can share that with us as well.
Okay. On LinkedIn, it's Diana Lee AI, Diana Leeai. On Instagram, I'm still using my personal. It needs a little polishing, but Diana Lee again _AI. But I've been most active on LinkedIn, and then also for my business site, it's www.waggle.ai.
All right. So I'll be getting that, of course, and putting it in the videos. So I'm going to stop recording now. Thank you so much, Diana, for joining the podcast today. It's been amazing talking to you and learning about the beautiful things that you are doing. Thank you so much.